Nordisk, which introduces Ozempic at 2,200 rupees per week. And let's take it straight to the management.
I would like to start with the fact that you have launched quite a popular generic drug, and it's quite controversial as well. Could you take us through the entire rollout plan, the pricing strategy, especially keeping Indian market in mind, and how the India launch is going to be different from the global market?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Shimi, for having me here. I should say that this journey of the launch for Ozempic as a semaglutide for type 2 diabetes has been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Now, these are the medications which are not new. GLP-1s are not new in the market. They have been there for 20 years. But then there have been a better and a better version of GLP-1s which have been coming. Mm-hmm. And in the journey, we got this semaglutide in the form of Ozempic as 0.25 milligram, 0.5 and 1 milligram. Now this is for type 2 diabetes. And if you want to understand this entire type 2 diabetes, one has to see that basically some people say it is a lifestyle disorder, because of the economic prosperity. You are from NDTV Profit, and then genetic predisposition which is there, which is also responsible, excess calories which people are actually eating, and all this put together put a burden on our body, and overall the glucose is not getting utilized, or insulin is not sufficient in terms of taking care of the glucose which has to be used. Now, when we have launched this, we really saw that this is one of the very effective treatment to bring down the HbA1c by the level 2.8%. That's a lot. In an HbA, in a glucose level of 2.8%, and along with that, these people with type 2 diabetes, they have also weight issue. Most of them, you will see 70% of them are having overweight situation.
Absolutely.
So that also reduces. Along with that, the heart benefits are there. Along with that, you have the kidney benefits. So these are the kind of medications just once a week. Somebody can take once a week when prescribed by the doctor for type 2 diabetes, and for quite a lot of majority of the population, it will give the benefit when indicated it right. Now, globally, it is available. It's time for India for the launch, right? There was a huge demand across the globe. So, of course, now we have brought it to India. We earlier launched oral semaglutide. This is an injectable semaglutide for type 2 diabetes. Just a few months back, we launched it for obesity. That means that was only for obesity, the unmet need. So now it is something called as a portfolio approach. Somebody would like to have as an oral tablet, somebody would like to have as an injectable, or doctors or the patient preference for type 2 diabetes. So it fits very well. You talked me about the India specific strategy. I think India, very important thing is that India deserves the innovation, and India also deserves in terms of the international quality standards and the ethics which are there. I think that we bring to the soil, as a multinational company which is available across the globe and is there for last 100 years. But what is India specific is that we have heard, and we actually saw, we took the feedback of the population, the patients, and what we are trying to do is to have something which is called as a India tailored pricing, right? And also the availability of both oral as well as injectable.
In fact, my next question is that only that with Ozempic, you are entering a highly price sensitive market.
Right.
So how are you planning to kind of navigate the pricing pressure?
I know, there is always a pressure on the family as well as on the government, what they can afford. But what we are doing is we have really heard our patients, we have really heard our doctors, and we just took a shaving off, you can say 37% for our injectable semaglutide, which is indicated for obesity. And what we are trying to do here is with just 2,200 rupees per week, we are launching this brand for type 2 diabetes. Now, it doesn't mean that it is cheap, but one has to take the context that it is cheaper to control or manage the type 2 diabetes now than to delay and wait for the complication to come. What is the cost of one night in a hospital, in an ICU? You know, having a dialysis, having a kidney failure, or having a heart disease. And I think when people don't control their diabetes, or when they don't have an effective control, I think that cost is far more greater than the cost or the fees of a doctor and a medication. Now,
I'm sure.
Now with this 2,200, it is within the reach of quite a lot of population. I will not say that everybody, but quite a lot of population.
But will this remain your pricing strategy, especially given the fact that your patent is also expiring?
And I would say that for any brand, any molecule, patents are natural part of the journey, right? It's like an aging process, like in a human being. So, of course, it's expiring by March. But when these patents are expiring, it's not just the lever of the pricing. I think in a protein chemistry, like we are seeing, we have been marketing or we have been offering our insulin solutions for last 100 years. What we have also seen is that along with the pricing, which we have done it very apt for India, what also it requires is the overall, how do we participate in education, in awareness, in overall empowerment of the doctors and patients. And I think there, for the last 4 decades in India, we have earned that respect. To the tune, I can tell you that in insulin is generic, and there are 5 or 6 players in India, right? And we still have 50% of the market in India, right? And this is again GLP-1 or semaglutide. This is again the same protein, and we are manufacturing it with rDNA technology with a similar kind of a product which is available abroad. The same is going to be available in India coming from Denmark. So I think we wait for the LOE period, and we would welcome the other players to this fight against obesity, rather than, yes, we will of course have some fight for the prescription. But I think you will agree with me, the fight against obesity is much more larger and bigger than fighting with each other for the market share.
Of course. Since you were talking about the obesity, I wanted to understand that how big you think the mass market for weight issue, one, and second, with Ozempic, the generic drug, there are concern about the side effects.
Right.
How are you going to reassuring Indian patient that this is safe?
Yeah. And I would say that a lot of analysts across the globe have gone wrong for GLP-1 projections. And if they would not have gone wrong, there would not have been any shortages. Just a couple of years back, there was a shortage of GLP-1 because the demand outstripped in terms of the supply which we could actually do. And going by the same number in India with 100 million diabetics, right? 135 million IGT who are there. You can imagine that how many people would require the access of this particular treatment, right? It's just the beginning. For last 7 or 8 months, with the advent or with the coming of the GLP-1 in the market, it's just the beginning. Let me tell you, only probably 100,000 patients have got the GLP-1 access. Imagine the size of the population in both urban and rural India, in childhood diabetes, which is, of course, it's not indicated in childhood diabetes, but I'm just saying that overall, when you look at the impact of the diabetes, it is much more higher, and with 100 million population, I think one side is the commercial aspiration. I think that is a byproduct, but my dream would be that if more and more people who really require this GLP-1 get the access, they get to know about the awareness. And also, our job is also to demystify some of those myths, like what you really talked about, the side effects. Now, as far as we understand, the side effect is nausea, vomiting when you start taking it, right? This GLP-1. And when that happens, it's transient. Okay. It normally goes. But then there are other side effects which have been talked by different sections of, you can say, societies. But most of them, we have seen that there is no causal or causal relationship between the drug and the outcome of those side effects.
That was a very informative conversation with Novo Nordisk.